If, like me, you have a thing for cute, pink and hardy succulents, then you need Graptopetalum Mendozae in your life. This succulent is native to Mexico and forms low-growing shrubby clusters of small pink rosettes. Individual rosettes are only tiny and reach about 4 cm or 1.6 inches in diameter, but they offset freely and new branches grow abundantly. Mendozae can reach approximately 10 cm in height, though the branches tend to fall and trail. Clusters can pretty much grow indefinitely if there's enough room to spread. When the stalks touch the ground, they will send roots of their own independently of the main stem. This is what allows a potentially huge spread. The color, as with many other succulents, will change throughout the year based on the seasons, temperature, sun exposure and general growing environment. The palette can range from light pink, green pink to deeper shades of pink. The brightest colors usually come through in the cold season. The leaves are small, chubby and pointy at the end with a very light dusting of farina. The farina protects succulents from the sun's UV and acts like a sunscreen. Because there is so little farina, the leaves are more shiny and almost sparkling when held up to the sun. When Mendozae is a little stressed, it will have smaller, stubbier leaves. Graptopetalum Mendozae is a sun lover and will grow best when exposed to at least 4 hours of sunlight. Having said that, it is a very versatile plant that will tolerate full bright shade when grown outdoors, but it's more likely to grow pale with spread out delicate leaves. When the sun is lacking, this succulent will also be more prone to fungal disease such as powdery mildew and rot. Despite it tolerating shade outdoors, Mendozae is not suitable to be grown indoors long terms as it's simply not bright enough in the average house. It can last a few months, but is likely to eventually perish. In frost-free climates, this plant can be grown outdoors all year round and is suitable for pots as well as the garden. In the garden, make sure to plant where water doesn't pool after the rain. Slope or raised beds are best. Although Graptopetalum Mendozae will grow in most potting mix, if you want nice looking pot plants, good quality succulent potting mix will ensure your plants have the right pH and nutrients. I would highly recommend breaking up the soil and adding in any potting mix when planting in the garden. This succulent has very thin roots and by cultivating the garden dirt, you'll make it easier for them to spread, which will help the plant grow better. Overwatering and rain are not an issue in my experience. As long as pot plants are in well-draining potting mix and there's a drainage hole, Mendozae will tolerate rainy periods. During dry spells or if grown under cover, water when the potting mix has dried up from previous watering. This succulent is drought tolerant and will be okay even on minimal water, but to avoid leaf loss and hydrophobic potting mix, it is best to water regularly. Mendozae can live through some serious heat waves and has survived 45 degrees Celsius or 113 Fahrenheit here at the nursery, but I would highly recommend moving this plant into shade or under shade cloth when heat waves are expected to avoid sunburn. Frost can be an issue, and in climates with frosty and snowy winters, this succulent should be brought indoors for the duration of the frosts. I grow it outdoors all year round and it can tolerate occasional mild frost, but once settled, the frost can leave dark marks and even kill the plant. Graptopetalum Mendozae will often propagate itself and is super easy to grow from leaves and cuttings. Seed propagation is also possible, but it's in my opinion pointless as it will take quite some time for the seedlings to reach any meaningful size. If you want to make lots of plants, leaf propagation is the way to go. The success rate is over 90% and the leaves are very easy to take off. For more instant results, try propagating cuttings. Multi-head branches as well as individual rosettes will grow well. After separating, leave the cuttings to dry for at least 24 hours so the wound has time to heal. This will prevent disease and bacteria getting in. Whichever propagation method you use, wait until the growing season comes around. I find the best time to propagate leaves is spring. Cuttings will root in spring, summer and early autumn. Do be careful during summer heat waves, as the Mendozae may struggle to propagate when very hot, and cuttings as well as leaves can die easily in hot direct sun. Once the cuttings have dried up, you can plant them in pots or trays filled with good quality succulent potting mix to help them get started. Make a hole in the middle so it's easier to insert the stalk. This will also anchor the cutting down and prevent it from being blown away if the wind gets too strong. This happened to me many a time and is incredibly annoying. Certainly learned my lesson there. To get a fuller pot faster, you can put more than one cutting in. When you take a few cuttings of your existing plants, it's always good to repot to give it a bit of extra growing energy so it can replenish the lost branches and keep growing. First, shake off the old potting mix. It's likely that all the nutrients have been used up, and this will free up space for more fresh potting mix. Repotting should be done once every year or two in order to replenish nutrients and check on the health of the roots. When succulents sit in the same pot for too long, there's a good chance root mealybugs will move in, as they really like root-bound plants. While Mendozae will tolerate being root-bound quite well, it will grow bigger and better when repotted regularly. You can repot in the same or bigger pot, and be sure to use good succulent potting mix. This succulent is pretty tough and does not need mollycoddling. As long as you use good potting mix and grow in a sunny enough spot, repotting should not affect Mendozae at all. A few leaves can fall off in the process, but you can just stick them on top of the potting mix and they'll eventually start growing a whole new plant. Graptopetalum Mendozae is on the menu of many succulent pests. When growing this plant, you are very likely to encounter aphids at flowering time, mealybugs, slugs, snails, caterpillars and grasshoppers. There's a few different succulents living on this table, and only the Mendozae is being eaten here by both aphids, and snails are seen eating big chunks of leaves. Regular pest check and management is a must with this succulent, otherwise use as a trap plant around more valuable plants. These little guys are just about to flower. The yellow-white blooms come up on a stalk. Each stalk holds only about 3 to 4 flowers. Aphids find the flowers irresistible, and so I tend to snip them off before they grow too much, otherwise the aphids will be too difficult to control. The flowers have 6 petals and last for a couple of weeks. Graptopetalum Mendozae is not toxic to cats, dogs, other animals or humans, and is safe to have around kids. Despite this, I would not recommend eating this succulent. And that's it for today. If you have anything to add to this video or a question, you can leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer. To learn more about succulents, hit the subscribe button or go to succulentgrowingtips.com. I also sell Graptopetalum Mendozae on our website in Australia, so if you'd like to buy some, you can go to fernfarmplants.com.au. Thank you very much for watching.